Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. You need North Peace, go to Brock. You need a roof, call us at Parish. Of course, Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com, semaglutide, tirzepatide, once a week injections for weight loss. You do the whole thing over telemed. They can ship your medicine anywhere in the country. So even if you're watching outside of Baton Rouge, and all this month, 50% off your first month. So all throughout August, 50% off your first month at Unique Physique. And of course, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. If you're in pain, book a session with Crystal Poche. She'll bring you out of it. Okay, y'all, LSU lands a 3-star defensive tackle commitment. His name is Dylan Battle. He's out of the state of Texas. He's out of Arlington, which, of course, as you know, Arlington is in the Dallas area. 3-star, number 569 nationally. Tons of offers. LSU, SMU, TCU, Arkansas looked like his final 4 there. But you look at the offer list: Cal, Alabama, Texas A&M, Texas, Michigan, USC, Penn State, Oregon, Auburn, Miami, Oklahoma, Missouri, Florida, Oklahoma State, Colorado, so Ohio State. So lots of offers. Came down to the 4 schools I mentioned: LSU, SMU, TCU, Arkansas. My contention continues to remain and always will remain. I am more interested in the offer list, but also I think this is an example of a guy, big kid, 6'3", 300 pounds, again, entering his senior year. So we'll see how his senior year goes and how they may be able to develop him further. But I think it's another example of the new roster limits in college football. The scholarship limits going to 105. It just dramatically changes how you build a roster. You used to settle in that 25, 27, 28 range, a year. And the transfer portal obviously changed that, where you have more transfers, so you need more players, but you supplement there in the portal. But now going to 105, you are going to have to sign more players out of high school. And what that means is you're going to take more guys that are, in the past, I hate to say the marginal guy, but like the 3-star guy, that's the borderline guy: Foster Moreau, Russell Gage, Justin Jefferson, Lloyd Cushenberry. Those are all guys that worked out, but I'm sure there's guys that were, the 3-stars that signed that didn't work out. But I think you can freely take those guys, and a lot of them Louisiana guys, because now you can bring them into your program. And effectively what you're doing is you're replacing walk-ons with guys that are 3-star scholarship players. That you're saying, instead of, hey, Dylan Battle, instead of going to UTSA or Baylor or let's just use the schools that he had, instead of going to SMU in the ACC, instead of going to SMU for 2 years and then transferring to a Power 5, just start here. Just start with us, get in our weight program, our training program, work with our coaches, let us coach you, develop you, all that sort of stuff, and build here. And then when you're ready to play, you're in. So I think that's what you're going to start to see as roster building continues to develop in college football with the new 105 scholarship limit. So Dylan Battle becomes commitment number 2. I mean, just think of it that way. In the past, if you're at 22 commits, you're nearing the end. And think about how many big time prospects LSU's still in on. If it's wide receiver Jamie French, if it's safety Jonah Williams, wide receiver kid out of Utah, Jeremy Myers, Jerome Myers. There's another safety that's committing on the 17th. So later this week, Saturday, there's 2 kids committing on Saturday. Like, your numbers are going to be bigger than they normally would be. So it's really interesting. I think this is one of the big changes we're already seeing sort of manifest in college football right now. Okay, we'll say some good morning, y'all. Tigers had day 9 yesterday. It was the 7th media availability. Practice today, day 10, our 8th media availability. Practice starts at 9:45. It's funny. So we get a media schedule, right? So it tells us the practice time. Well, typically the practice time tells us when we can go in. So the practice starts at 9:45, but they start indoors and then they come outdoors. We can watch the outdoors portion. So it's just interesting as they're sort of ramping up the time to spend outdoors. It's like we've been so everyone gets there at 9:45 because that's what the schedule says. But then let's say they don't come outside till 10:15. We end up standing outside for 30 minutes waiting to get in. But NBD, I'm appreciative of the access. So practice again today. If you missed my full practice report on AFR or on Locked on LSU, go check it out. It was interesting. I mean, this has been sort of the same old song and dance. And I've shared this both on AFR and Locked On. I'll share it here. My big takeaway right now for the defense is the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. When they go individual, they lose individual periods like at an embarrassing rate. When they go team, they're really competitive. And I went back and looked at all my notes, and I've seen 5. So they've had 9 practices. We've seen 7 of the 9, portions of 7 of the 9. And in those 7, we've seen 5 11-on-11 periods, at least that I've charted. And in those 5, I went back and looked. In those 5, I have not seen the first team offense score a touchdown against the defense. And I don't want you to like extrapolate that and think, oh, they're going to shut people out, because it might be like 5 or 6 plays. It might be like 1 drive or 2 drives. I mean, over the course of a game, you're going to have 10, 11, 12 drives. So, I think you have to sort of be measured there. But like yesterday in the 11-on-11. So remember, the offense gets torched, or the offense torches the defense all throughout individuals. They go to 11-on-11. First play, Jordan Gilbert gets a forced and incompletion, covered Mason Taylor. Second down, they hit Chris Hilton on a crosser for 7 yards. It's 3rd and 3. Jordan Allen comes up with a PBU. Nuss threw a ball over the middle. It's a 50-50 ball over the middle into traffic for Kyron Lacey, where he could try to go up and get it. Went up and get it. Jordan Allen created contact, forced the incompletion. It was 4th and 3. Paris Shan bats the ball at the line of scrimmage and intercepts it. I mean, like, just dramatically different than what it looks like when they go individual, where the defense can't get a win. But when they go team, they're much better. I mean, go figure. You have a pass rush. You're forcing Nuss to move his feet. He has hands in his face. You have linebackers creating pressure in different looks. You can double team receivers. You have safety help. Like, the biggest thing is you're just not seeing the coverage busts. You're seeing guys that look assignment sound, and they're playing fast and free and loose and physical. And it's been encouraging to watch, man. I think at some point you still have to have the Jimmies and the Joes. And I don't think that this team is there defensively. They've got some. Like, Harold Perkins is awesome. Jordan Gilbert is an SEC safety. I think Ashton Stamps is getting better. I think Whit Weeks obviously can play at this level. I think they're good at defensive end, not great. But I think they're good at that position. Defensive tackle remains a big question, but I just mentioned, Paris Shan had kicked inside, was playing tackle when he batted that ball and got the interception. So there are signs of improvement as we're inside of 3 weeks from the opener. All right, let's say some good mornings here. Hey, Michael, LSU keeps building on a fantastic recruiting class. They ain't done yet. They ain't even close to being done. Ricky, good morning. Wendell, good morning. Jeff, what up, my dude? Brad David, good morning. Hey, Chris, with the defense playing so well as a whole lately, does that raise red flags about the offense, or I'm looking at that wrong? Chris, it's always the question, right? Whenever you get into good on good, you go watch the spring game, or you watch scrimmages, or you watch anything. When one side of the ball does well, does it mean that side is good or the other side is bad? And I think there's things you can take from both. Just like I said with the defense, look, you could be encouraged, but the flip side of it is true, where you have to look and say, okay, well, it's just that was 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, that was those 4 plays the first team ran. I mean, it was one series. They got to stop on one series. Then the 2s went in, and A.J. Swan was the quarterback with the 2s. Zy Alexander was covering Shelton Sampson, forced an incompletion. 2nd and 10, they went over the middle to Aaron Anderson for 5 yards. 3rd and 5, nice ball on the sideline to Kamorian Pimpton, but he didn't get to the sticks. It was 3rd and 5. He was 1 yard short. So now it's 4th and 1. Instead of checking down, they go deep to Shelton Sampson, who had beaten Zy Alexander by about two full steps. And A.J. Swan underthrew the ball. Sampson had to come back to it. It allowed Zy Alexander to recover, and he played the ball and got a PBU. So it was 8 plays, and first team, second team, 8 plays. Offense didn't get a first down. By the way, so that's when they escorted us out. And so I was looking back as the first team went back on there. So they were still running the 11-on-11. And the first play, Harold Perkins beat Garrett Dellinger for a sack. So it's like, I understand the question, Chris. It's like, is it good or bad? I don't know. But what I can tell you is, like, the offense undeniably has the Jimmies and the Joes. I think you can look and say it's encouraging for the defense. And I can say for the offense, you have to look at Nussmeier and say he's got to protect the ball. Because one of the other 11-on-11 periods I charted last week, they were doing a 2-minute drill. So, start at your own 25, 2 minutes. Go. Refs on the field and everything. Nuss, boom, boom, right down the field. And they get in a goal-to-go situation. I told you all this. He threw an interception over the middle. He waited, and instead of throwing it away, he tried to fit it in a tight window over the middle, and Ashton Stamps jumped in front and picked it off at the goal line. Like, those are the things he's got to purge. And you still see that at practice. We'll see if you can. Brett Guidry, Jacob Thompson. Hey, Jason, good morning. Bailey, is it me or is everyone nationally down in LSU? People are talking like they're going 6-6. I haven't heard anybody talk like they're going 6-6. Like, literally anybody. I think every piece of commentary about LSU is fair. I mean, you have to remember, like, Bailey, think of this. Take off your purple and gold glasses. Remove yourself from it. Think of it in terms of look at USC then. USC, they lose a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Their defense was atrocious last year. They fired the defense coordinator, bring in somebody new defensive staff. Like, why would you think that team's going to be any good? And you go, oh, well, they're USC. Well, what was LSU last year? Jaden Daniels, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors. Literally the worst defense ever. You lose your Heisman winning quarterback, 2 first-round picks at receiver, and you had the worst defense ever. Why should I believe it's going to be better? You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between being down, having a healthy level of skepticism, and I think that's where people are with LSU. And I don't think that there's disrespect. Despite losing your first-round pick receivers, your Heisman winning quarterback, and having that defense replacing the whole staff, LSU's preseason number 13, man. Their projected win total is 9.5 over under. Basically saying this team could be a 10-2 team. I don't think that's disrespect. I think that's pretty accurate. Mark, will Derek Carr get benched this season by Dennis Allen if he plays subpar and the Superdome is half empty? I don't think so, Mark. I mean, unless the wheels come off and they decide to take a look at the future. But this is why when they restructured his contract, I lost my mind. Because when they restructured his deal, they effectively said, we are committing financially to Derek Carr for at least 2 more seasons, this year and 2025. So I've said this so many times, I don't know any other way to say it, except just to keep saying it over and over again. The only way you dig yourself out of this is if one of those quarterbacks becomes Brock Purdy, meaning Haener or Rattler, and you have a day 3 quarterback on a rookie contract, a rookie day 3 contract, so that it doesn't even matter that Derek Carr stinks. You can eat $50 million and it doesn't matter because you've got a great quarterback that's inexpensive. And then as you play out the remainder of that deal, you can start to build a new roster around that quarterback. But that's the only way that this happens, because you are financially bound to Derek Carr for this year and for next in a massive way. So, foolish pride, man. Trivia, good morning. James McKinney, good morning. Thomas, good morning. Does your observation about the defense beating the offensive practice give you any concern about the offense? Yes, same question Chris asked just a little bit. No, the one thing I'll tell you is the interceptions. But yesterday, the interception by Nuss wasn't a bad throw. It was a great play by Parrish Shand. He got his hands up, batted the ball, and picked it at the line of scrimmage. I mean, we have seen that the interceptions concern me because it's the one big question we have about Nuss, right? It's like the only big question we have is, can he protect the football? But the flip side of it is, guys, you have to remember, and I try to stress this, even when I try to stress it, sometimes people just in one ear and out the other. I just told you, it was like yesterday we saw one series from the first team, one series from the second, one series. Like, what's to say a defense goes out there with a good plan, gets a stop on the first series, and you're excited, but as the game goes along, you make adjustments and you wear down, like, maybe they don't hold up. That's why I think they need depth and they need talent. And like, but my point is they're showing competence, which is way better than last year, where you got guys with their hands in the air, coverage busts, dudes getting beaten by 5 yards, receivers catching the ball with nobody in the picture. Like, we're not seeing that. And maybe I should clarify, like, maybe I need to be even more adamant when I talk about this. Because I don't want that point to get lost. I don't want people to sit here and say, Matt, you said the defense was great. I'm not saying the defense is great. I think they have major personnel flaws. I think outside of Harold Perkins and Jordan Gilbert, I don't know that they got draftable players. I think Braden Swinson could be a draftable guy. Maybe Savion Jones. And at least right now anyway. But they had a long way to go, but the point is they're showing good signs, which is encouraging. Michael, I know we're in football mode. Was thinking about the baseball team yesterday. Dan Dickinson bringing a top 10 projected pick would mean he could be better than Tommy White. Thoughts? Yeah, man. We're in football mode, dude. I'm excited about Dickinson. I think he's going to be your starting third baseman, and he's going to be great. I don't think necessarily Tommy White was outside of a top 10 pick because he wasn't a great player. It was just because there's questions about whether or not he can stick at third base and his chase rate is too high. I don't know that Dickinson's coming in and hitting 25 homers. I hope he does. It'd be awesome. But we'll see. Great player, though. I'm excited to have him. Drew, good morning. Nice, crisp morning in Atlanta. Football's approaching. Love that. Leon, good morning. 11 days to kick off. Yeah, y'all. Week 0 is a week from Saturday. I mean, that's awesome. And we're going to get, what is it, Florida State, Georgia Tech, and Ireland. I'm excited about that. Abner Neal, good morning. One Nardi, good morning. Hey, Weston, good morning. Saw a clip of Hunt ragging the LSU secondary because of their deficiencies. Are we seeing a repeat of last year? Or are they legitimately better? So I heard Hunt's open yet. That was Hunt's show open yesterday. And Hunt was there and watched the individual drills. And this is the point that I'm making. And Hunt left before he had to go do a show. So he left before he saw 11 on 11. This is the point that I've made over and over again. Okay, like let me make this as simplified as possible. I'm trying to, like, that's why when I said my theory on the defense, or my thesis as of now, is the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Individually, the offense at essentially every position is better than the defense individually. If you go watch pass rush drills, Will Campbell is better than Paris Shand, always. Garrett Dellinger is better than Sean Washington. Miles Frazier is better than Kimo Makaneoli. Emory Jones is better than Savion Jones. You understand my point? If you go watch receiver drills, CJ Daniels is better than Ashton Stamps. Mason Taylor is better than Major Burns. Kyron Lacey is better than Jordan Allen. Chris Hilton is better than Jair Brown. Shelton Sampson is better than PJ Woodland. Do you understand my point? Like, that they win all of these one-on-one drills because they're better. You put a receiver in space. There's no pass rush. There's no linebackers. There's no safety help. You just put a receiver and a DB. The receiver knows the route. The DB doesn't. The DB has to just rely on athleticism to read the receiver and run with it. And the receivers absolutely cook the DBs every time. Every single time. That's what Hunt's talking about. Yesterday, it was 25 reps. The DBs got 2 pass breakups. There were 2 overthrows and a drop. Jelani Jenkins dropped a walk-in touchdown. He was being guarded by Michael Turner. Beautiful ball by Ricky Collins. And Jelani Jenkins just dropped it. Right sideline, deep ball, go route, beat him by 5 yards. Just dropped it. But Ashton Stamps had a PBU on CJ Daniels, and Jordan Gilbert had a PBU on Aaron Anderson. That was it. Out of 25 reps, you had 2 pass breakups. 2 out of 25. 2. So one-on-one, yes, LSU's receivers, every single one of them is better than the defensive back opposite. Every single one. And that's a drill slanted toward the offense. There's no pass rush. You can't double team. There's no safety help. It's just a one-on-one drill, and the receivers are better. Same with the pass rush drills. but you put them on the field in actual football, 11 on 11, where you can disguise coverages, you can roll help, you can drop a linebacker, you can bring a blitz, you can pressure the quarterback, you can get your hands in the air. Like the degree of difficulty for the offense goes up. And so now you're going to say, well, is that bad for the offense? No, it just means the defense got to stop in a series. And they're better when they have help and they can play as 11 instead of one-on-one. It's like, could anybody on Team USA beat Nikola Jokic one-on-one? And the answer is no. When the U.S. played Serbia, maybe a bad example because the U.S. is full of the best basketball players in the world, but when the U.S. played Serbia, they won. Maybe France is a better example, or I don't know. You get it. I think you get it. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Shelby, good morning. KG Country, not seeing the roster management. I mean, 105. It is hard enough at 85. Now the smaller schools are really in a bind. The two-star guy will always pick the bigger school. Yes, he will. And I don't care. I don't care about the small. I know you played at a smaller school. You played at ULL. I don't care. Like, it is not. I wish him well. But the smaller schools have gotten themselves in this situation by their own doing. The G5 has tried to pretend like they're Power 5 schools are now Power 4, and they're not. They're not and never will be. They spend outside their means on coaches and facilities and trying to be a P5 and then complaining and trying to get a one bid to the playoff. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm telling you right now what's going to happen. Mark my words. I'm saying it here. I'm saying it again. Mark my words. It's going to happen. We're going to start with this 12-team playoff, and the G5 has an auto bid. And what's going to happen is the G5 is going to go play. They're going to be the 12th seeded team every time, and they're going to play the 5th seed, which will be the highest ranked team, the highest seeded team not to get a bye. Remember, the 4 highest ranked conference champions are going to get a bye. So that means you're going to have the number 2 team from the SEC. Let's just say this year it's Texas or Bama or Georgia, whoever it may be. Or like, let's say Ohio State beats Oregon for the Big Ten and Oregon becomes the 5 seed, right? The first team out of the bye. Well, then that means Fresno State or Liberty has to go to Eugene, Oregon and play at Autzen Stadium in a 12-5 game. And they're going to get their head kicked in. And what's going to happen is over and over again, we're going to watch that 12 seed, the G5 team, get their head kicked in these playoff games. And we're going to look around going, we're leaving out a 10-2 team from the SEC so Liberty can go get its head kicked in. And they're going to do away with the auto bid for the G5. And they should, by the way. So I don't care. I don't care about how expanding rosters to 105 affects the smaller schools at all. The smaller schools have done this to themselves by continuing to act like a bulldog when they're a poodle. That's the problem. They continue to act like a Great Dane when they're really a wiener dog. Like, be what you are. You're a short leg wiener dog. Be what you are. Be very proud of that. People love wiener dogs. They're great. Be what you are. Brett DeGrow, what's going on? I'm not mad at you, Sean. I just had to make my point. Bubba Smith, what's up? Kevin Toller, what's going on? You don't bench that much money? What do you mean? What do you mean bench that much money? I forgot. Oh, Carr forgot. I mean, you know what's interesting though, Kevin? You say that. Denver ate it with Russell Wilson. Philly ate it with Wentz back in the day. It's possible. Bailey C., I think it's right to prioritize recruiting and supplement with the portal, but LSU needs to sign better players to supplement, not Deuce Chestnut and Andre Sam. Hey, you hit on some, you miss on some. Like, I'm with you. Completely agree. But think about the year before. Greg Brooks, Joe Fouché, Jarpinard Converse, Mekhi Garner. Like, you hit. You go into the next year thinking, okay, Deuce Chestnut, who was all conference, Denver Harris, who's a former 5-star. You go into last year thinking, okay, you've brought in more talent. Now, Andre Sam was a bit of a flyer, but you missed on all those guys. That's by the way, it's why it's important to make sure you're building through the high school ranks so you're not relying on resetting an entire position group every year through the portal, which is what they were doing in the secondary. Now you go get PJ Woodland, who they're high on. I've told you there's 3 true freshmen on the 2 deep right now in the secondary. They're relying on their young talent. They believe the guys that they signed are talented and are going to play. Deshaun Spears, I think, is going to be a great player. I would not be surprised if before the end of the season, if Sage Ryan sticks at corner, I would not be surprised by the end of the season, Deshaun Spears is starting at safety. I would not be surprised because I think he is a higher upside player than Jordan Allen. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I think Jordan Allen's a good player and has been around for 3 years and could certainly maybe take that step. But I think you're looking at a guy that once he gets comfortable has a much better skill set and a higher upside and could take that job. It's the same thing that happened with Eric Reed. When Eric Reed was a freshman in 2010, by the time you got to November, he was starting and never gave up that job and was an All-American, a first-round pick. And I think Deshaun Spears could follow a similar trajectory. Ron Ritchie, good morning. Kelly Gross, good morning. Gorilla, what's up? Mr. Wallace, morning, Matt. I think the D gets better every game throughout the year. I think the first month is so critical. You're going to be challenged against USC, but the next 3, I mean, Nichols, South Carolina, and remember, I think South Carolina is a tough game, tough place to go play and all that stuff. It'll be packed. It'll be 11 a.m., but they've got a new quarterback. They don't have a lot on offense. Like, you should be able to be competitive defensively with them. And then you come home to play UCLA, who I think is going to be a dumpster. UCLA and then South Alabama, actually. So it's 4 weeks. UCLA, South Alabama. I think South Alabama probably is a better team this year than UCLA. I think UCLA is going to be a dumpster fire this year. So, like, you should be able to take that month after the USC game and really get better defensively to where you go into your open date before Ole Miss and you should feel really confident about yourself. I'm not saying you're going to be great, but you should feel confident about what you are at that point. You should be. Because if they struggle that first month with after SC, those next 4 weeks, if they struggle, long year. Let's see. Melody, good morning. Gorilla, how many wins does Sage have at CB? Got that charted by chance. I mean, I have 2 notebooks, but Sage isn't bad, by the way. Sage athletically is one of your better guys. Let's see. This was yesterday. I don't know where he was. I only got 1 rep from Sage in the one-on-ones yesterday. Huh. I don't know why he didn't take reps. He took on Kyron Lacey on the last rep that I charted, and it was an overthrow. Sage ain't your problem. If that's what you're getting at, he ain't your problem. He's your most athletic corner. I think Stamps has the potential to be your best corner on this team. Here's the goal line drill. Let's see. Why isn't he taking reps? Charted 1 rep here from Sage. He got beat by Kyle Parker on a slant for a touchdown. Or is this they have that many guys? Oh, no, here you go. I'm sorry. I did have another one. My bad. I'm sorry. The 3rd rep, Sage guarded Kyle Parker. The ball was behind Kyle Parker. So both reps, Sage, let's see, Kyle Parker, ball was behind him, and then Sage gave up a touchdown. But again, they all lose. I mean, Hilton beat Jordan Gilbert. Lacey beat PJ Woodland. Daniels beat 22. Where's my roster? How's my roster? It's 22. 22 is still learning the roster. '22 is Joel Rogers, the freshman safety. I mean, come on, CJ Daniels against Joel Rogers. How's that going to go? Kyron Lacey went up against 29, who was Wallace Foster. Oh my God. Kyle Parker beat Kylan Jackson, touchdown back corner. Deshaun Spears got a win against 85, who is 85. Gabe Leonard's. Shelton Sampson beat Ashton Stamps. Dart from Colin Hurley for a touchdown. Yeah, like they all win in these individual drills, man. Let's see. This was 8-7. So this was August the 7th. If you're looking for Sage, Chris Hilton beat Sage. Sage got a win against Hilton, out of bounds, deep left. That was the only 2 reps. Better day for the defense that day. 11 on 11. Sage got a pass break up against Shelton Sampson on the deep left. I'm telling you, man, they're just just better when they go to team. Anyway, smash the like button if you would, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post, all that stuff. Shout out to all of our sponsors. They're here. Sponsors are linked in the description on YouTube. I'll be sure to tag on Facebook as well. If you need an orthopedist, you go to Brock. They're the best. Brock locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. You need a roof, give us a shout, Parrish. Hey, did y'all see, I'm not sure if you saw, but during the Saints game on Saturday night, the LDI, Louisiana Department of Insurance, ran an ad campaign for the fortified roofing program. It's something I've told you about. And Louisiana homeowners can get a $10,000 grant for a fortified roof. We can help you with the whole process, applying for the grant, getting your roof fortified, all that sort of stuff. If you're interested, let us know. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, or give us a call at 364-1007, 364-1007. Jeff McKithen, what's going on? Club Ruckus, good morning. Who did Will get beat in 11 on 11 for a sack? Who did Will get beat? Who did Will get beat in 11? Will Campbell didn't get beat. The sack that I charted from Harold Perkins was Dellinger. It was inside. Anyway, Will Campbell never loses. So, I watched 7-on-7 yesterday instead of the O-line, D-line drills. And Hunt told me that Savion Jones got a win against Will Campbell, which is probably the first time all fall camp that Will Campbell's lost a rep. Like, I usually stand over there and whoever I'm standing by, I go, I bet you $1 million Will Campbell wins this rep. Like, it's just, he never loses a rep. It's like, it's stunning to watch. He's amazing. Like, he's so good, it's almost boring. Like, anyway. Brian Wynn, Charlie Cavell, hey, Dad, good morning. Dale Broussard, woot up. Jared Addison, Matt, possible that neither the offense or the defense are good. No. Jared, the offense has so much talent, man. You got first-round picks at tackle. You got a great offensive line. Your receiving talent is elite. It's so obvious. You maybe have the best tight end in college football. That's not my opinion. ESPN's Jordan Reed, draft analyst, put out a piece projecting the top players in the draft at 10 different positions. At tight end, he projected Mason Taylor the best tight end in the draft. Like, no, man. They're really, really talented on offense, man. Like, really talented on offense. Irfan Sayad, AP3, morning, Matt. Are you concerned with Nuss throwing picks? Yes, I am. It is, if there is literally one criticism of Nuss, I mean, he has good size. He has great leadership ability, can make all the throws, son of a coach, smart, leader, everything. He checks every box. The one thing throughout his career has been, can you protect the football? And so we've seen him throw picks in the team periods. And yes, that is a concern. It is my one concern for him. It's literally the one thing where I go, will he throw it away instead of throwing it into traffic? Will he live to play another down? Let's see. John Carr, good morning. Going to show my ignorance. I know what a ride is, but what is a die? An eBay motor ad. It's all good, John. So ride or die is an expression that the kids today use to talk about somebody close to them. Like my ride or die is like I'm riding with them like till the day I die is what the expression means. Like you might say that about like your wife. My wife's my ride or die. We ride together, we die together is the expression. Bad boys for life. Deborah Coward, but all good though, John. Thank you for asking. Brad, who gave more access to media, Les or Ed? Ed. Les was just the worst at that. It's his prerogative, by the way, and he's not an outlier. Most coaches don't give access, but Ed was trying. When Ed got the job, especially as an interim, Ed was trying to win favor to get the job, and so he did things like he let the media in practice. He opened up practice to former players. Didn't even need to just come. He started the Tiger Walk where former players got to walk down the hill. Ed was effectively campaigning for the job. And so he did things like that. It was smart. I mean, that was Derek who was advising him, and Derek knew the pain points of the fan base and the media, and it worked. Rocky, you do if this is your last shot at being an NFL head coach. Oh, you mean, or that's back to the car convo. Oh, I'm a little behind on comments here. My apologies. Okay. Y'all smash the like button if you would, subscribe to the channel. Christian 24 hours till Drew's back in school. That's true. Y'all, by the way, Taylor said, how's Drew like in New St. Lillian? He goes tomorrow for the first day. He's there tomorrow. They stagger entry. So he goes tomorrow, off Thursday, goes Friday, and the next week's a full week with everybody. So y'all, carpool drop-off is, I think, like 8:15 to 8:35 Central. Last year at the other location, it went until like 8:40 or 8:45. So we may have to cut. We either have to cut morning Scone a few minutes short so I can get Drew up and out the house and dressed and everything, or I may have to start like 10 minutes early and go like 7:20 to 7:50 instead of 7:30 to 8. Just gonna have to play it by ear, how that's gonna go, but just please be mindful that we may be making some changes based on Drew's school. Seth, how much do you worry about us being too aggressive? Yes, it's my one concern. Jeremy, Quentin, good morning. Stat Dove, if LSU takes L at Vegas, does BKC get warm? No, zero warmth, none whatsoever. I want to remind you of this. LSU signed Brian Kelly to a 10-year, $95 million contract, of which 90% of his deal is guaranteed if he's fired without cause. Meaning, for better or worse, LSU and Brian Kelly are joined for a decade, period. If LSU were to fire Brian, I did the math over the summer. If LSU were to fire Brian Kelly after this year, they would owe him something like $68 million. There is a better chance of me becoming the president of the United States in November than Brian Kelly getting fired, which is to say zero. Rocky, Blake Baker looks jacked in the LSU sleeveless hoodie. He is jacked. I mean, it's one of those things that, like, his energy, he's a young dude. He's energetic. He brings a lot of fun and excitement. Players respond to him. I don't know if you know, but he's got tats on his arms, like under his triceps. Like, he's relatable, I think, to a lot of the guys. They play hard for him. I love, by the way, also that he wears the LSU fitted baseball hat at practice. He wears cleats and he doesn't wear like a vented hat. He wears the fitted baseball cap to practice, which I love. So yeah, man. I mean, he's great. He has been a great addition, an injection of life, confidence into the defense. It's a very different vibe than with Matt House. That's not to be insulting to Matt House. This isn't like, tap dance on his grave sort of thing. Matt House had great defenses at Kentucky, and in 2022, he maximized that defense in year one under Brian Kelly. The wheels just came off last year with that group. Brett, I got a bulldog. He doesn't really do much, acts like a wiener. I think you get my point, Brett. There we go. What up, Vernell? Good morning. Nigel, good morning. Rocky, totally agree. Matt, G5 will get boat race to the playoff. Mark, did the sources provide any update on Jonah Williams? You know what? I don't even know if that guy who said he was going to messaged me. I don't. I rarely check DMs, y'all. Just as a um. Yeah, I don't think he messaged me. Forgive me, I forget the guy's name. So for those who missed, there was a guy yesterday who said, "Matt, do you want info on Jonah Williams?" And I was like, "Sure, whatever." But I don't think he messaged. I don't see a message on Facebook. Anyway, but I do have Shea Dixon on today, and I trust Shea and his information, so I'll ask Shea today on AFR. Bailey defense doesn't have elite talent throughout, but they will be in position to make plays with Baker's scheme. You know what they've done? So it's funny how like you say with Baker's scheme, talking to people who know way more about football than me, let's put it that way, and in particular know way more about playing in the secondary than me. Um, they're playing too high safety, which means effectively we're not letting you beat us deep. Um, and they have just simplified everything defensively, almost to an elementary level. Whereas Matt House last year brought a lot of NFL concepts, and that's why you saw a lot of the guys just didn't get it. And then you weren't talented enough to play man free. Like you couldn't just say, you got him, you got him, you got him, because you weren't talented enough. And so one of the things Baker has done is just almost oversimplified things defensively. To this point, I think they'll continue to add on to it once guys are more and more comfortable. But I think just simplifying has allowed guys to play fast and free and physical and loose and have fun, and they made plays. Scott, judging the entire defense based on one-on-one drills is a bit dramatic. It's good to hear the full defense is getting wins. Completely. I am more encouraged by the team drills, of course. The flip side of it, though, Scott, is when they'd run one-on-one drills and you had Jamar Chase and Derek Stingley, the defense didn't lose them all, even though that was Jamar Chase. And Christian Fulton and Justin Jefferson, Fulton was an All-American caliber player too. You know what I mean? Like that's the big difference. While they're playing well together as a unit, they still have the talent to be awesome. You know, like you're gonna get beat because there's gonna be people just with better talent and depth than you that over 60 minutes are gonna be better than you. But I think what might the takeaway of the 11-on-11 periods is that like he's got these guys pulling in the same direction, which they were not doing a year ago. Very clearly, we're not doing a year ago. Eric, if a player qualifies for TOPS, gets a football scholarship, does the athletic department still have to write the University of Czech? Maybe this helps minimize the 115 scholarship. So it's not 115, it's 105, just as a heads up. And no, if you're on athletic scholarship, you're on athletic scholarship. For a long time, that was a great benefit for baseball when they were 11.7. TOPS allowed you to get a lot of in-state guys and not have to give them scholarship money. That was a big advantage for baseball for a long time. It's a good question, but no, if you're on a football scholarship, you're on football grant and aid. Kevin, how do you feel about the bench if Nuss were to go down for any reason? Not good. And I've started to pay more attention to that. AJ Swan is a check down Charlie, by far the weakest arm of the four quarterbacks. I think he can function within the offense, but he can't make the throws. Ricky Collins, I think, is a really good arm talent, and his mobility helps him. He's got a much higher ceiling than AJ Swan. I think you probably just see. I hate to use cliches, but he's a little more raw. Like he needs to be refined, which is not. I mean, he's entering his second year of college, and like he played at Woodlawn on a team where a lot of times against better teams he was running for his life. Now he was the best player on the field, So he made a lot of plays, but that field gets leveled when you're in the SEC, right? The playing field gets leveled. So Ricky Collins, much higher ceiling, but neither one of those guys are ready to lead LSU to any great heights if they have to play. Not now, anyway. Let's see. Eric, let's switch gears with a new Catholic QB, be able to keep the train rolling. Hey, man, Eric, I wish I knew, man. I haven't gotten to watch them practice. I don't know how they're rolling out there. I'm sure they're going to be good. I did see, I think, was Channel 9? I think Channel 9. Yeah, Channel 9 rolled out to Lafayette to go look at to get some video of Beal practicing with the Cajuns, which is pretty cool, man. Good to see Daniel Beal, 4-year starter. Hope he does awesome. Hey, Ron, wanted to give an update on Supper Club. Well, Ron, you must have missed, man. I did get to your comment yesterday or whenever it was. So thank you for sharing, man. Wife got the sea bass, which is awesome. Got the ribeye. Both were amazing. The short rib burn ends are awesome. Supper Club back open today, by the way. Tuesday to Saturday. If you had never been, man, you got to get out of Supper Club. Okay. Oh, man. Here we go. Jerry, good morning. Jerry, hope everything went well yesterday, man. Connor Smart rewatched the 07 Florida game yesterday. The announcers talking about how LSU fans will never think of Saban again after the late fourth quarter touchdown gutsy call. It may have been the ultimate jinx. Oh, God. Brr. Brett DeGros, Scone 2024, make media great. Moscona Cricket 2028 sounds nice. Nat 2024. Oh, God. Matt and T-Bob 2024. Oh, God. Heard there's a commitment video for Jonah to A&M in the making. Okay. Caleb Clark, good morning. Okay, man. Let's see. All right, I think we're done. Y'all have an awesome day. Thanks so much for being here. Please smash the like button on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post, all that stuff. And please, support all of our sponsors. You need orthopedics, go to Brock. They're the best. If you need a roof, Parrish, we'd love to help you out. ParrishBuilt.com. Unique Physique, semaglutide, tirzepatide, once a week injections for weight loss, and whole thing you can do over telemed. They'll ship directly to your door outside of Baton Rouge, anywhere in the country. So even if you're watching outside of Louisiana, uniquephysique.com. And this month, all in the month of August, 50% off your first month there at Unique Physique. And Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. If you have any pain, book a session with Crystal Poche. You'll be glad you did. Restoredmotions.com. Jerry, passed on my cardiac tests. Didn't even have to study for them. LOL. Glad to hear it, Jerry. Glad all went well, man. Cheers to you. Onward and upward. That just means we get to have some good Saturdays this fall, right? Over at Don Juan. Looking forward to it. Okay, y'all. And we might have an update on Scone and Tea coming for those that have asked. Hoping to have an update any day now. All right, y'all. Have an awesome day. We appreciate it. Locked on LSU is already live. Podcast, YouTube. Please go check it out. And AFR3 heading out to practice here shortly, and we'll have a report for you. Y'all.